And this is This Week in Car Audio. Tune in, tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Yeah. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by the man who's back. He's going back to Cali, Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez. What's good, Jeff?
Hey, man, moving is tough. Moving is really hard. And it's not the fact that it's moving like, some other city, but this is like practically cross country. So that makes it even more tough. So
I got that coming up. Let's see here. I'm sharing all my stuff right now. I don't know if the what's it called is going to work today, where I can pull up the what people are saying. I can see it. To pull up the chat, because I was informed by Google Chrome that they no longer accept our extension. So trying to work that out, make sure. Let's see if I can get that all worked out as soon as I share this. So how was your trip, sir?
Mine?
Eventful, not eventful?
It was pretty eventful. So of course we had to get a moving truck. And we thought a 16-footer was going to be enough. We just had a one bedroom, but no, that was far from enough. And on top of that, so, I got my Yukon. I ended up, reconnecting with a buddy of mine from California. He does car carriers. So he ended up coming out to Dallas, and we put it on his car carrier, and he took it out to to California, it was here in California before we even got there.
Damn.
So he's like, I'm just gonna stow it over here. I was like, okay, that's cool. We won't really need it that much in a hurry. What was the question again?
How was the trip?
Oh, yeah. So the moving truck, man, and plus I was towing my Toyota. I got the full truck. I was getting like 10 miles per gallon. And it was like, we're gonna take our time, and we're not really that much of a hurry. Let's just, if we feel tired, let's pull off the road, maybe get a hotel or something and spend the night. But we were just kind of fixated on let's just go. But we did take a couple of times where we pulled off at a rest stop and just took a couple of hours break and just go to sleep and stuff like that. So I mean that part wasn't too bad. Once you space it out, I think it's not that bad. But if you go straight, like a couple of weeks ago, or last week I think, we did a straight turnaround from Texas to California for my granddaughter's first birthday.
Yeah.
And I couldn't miss it. So we were going to fly, but then we procrastinated, and then the flights got really crazy. So we're like, well, let's just drive. So 19 hours straight, did the birthday party, was really fun. And then straight 19 hours back driving. So yeah, that was pretty rough, but that was like the longest I've ever driven. It broke my record. It used to be 14 hours was like the longest, but then I don't know. It was just like, man, I had to get back. We had to get the move going. So I think it was just motivation for me that kept me going.
Justin says you should have got the 24-footer. Hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm gonna rent the biggest possible one that they have when we do the cross country.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna rent the big one, and then my wife is gonna get the other one, the
2
16.
trucks?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we may have to stop in Reno and pick up my mother-in-law.
Oh,
So
okay.
so she may be moving with us, right? So so we need all that. Anyway, well, before we get going here, let's say thank you to our sponsors. We have E-Box Design and Install and Bass Badass Sounds by Steve Bass. Want to thank them for sponsoring us, for being part of the show. Oops, I pushed some buttons. All right, it doesn't look bad on everybody else's end.
Nope.
All right, good. Anyway, I want to thank them for sponsoring us. If you have an opportunity, please support the people who support the things that you like. Let's see here. Joel says, hello, my dear friend Stefan.
Stefan.
Don David says, Jeffrey, glad to have you back in Cali.
Oh, cool. Good to be back.
He hates Justin says 10 hours through Texas on the I-10 is the worst. He
That's
hates
right.
that
That
stretch.
was the thing too. It was like 10 hours and we were still in Texas. I was like, come on, man.
That's uncool.
Yeah.
Joel saying looking forward to be back there in Canada.
Oh,
wherever that place is. Anyway, our guest this week is Mr. Canada himself, Steve, Mr. Team Mini. What's up, Steve?
It is what it is. You guys are worried about the long distances.
Oh, yeah.
3 inches of ice outside. Ice sitting on the ground. Like yeah.
So
but you're no stranger to far distances.
No.
2021, we did 120 hours of highway driving.
Wow.
To do both finals.
Yeah.
And not all of that was at 60 miles an hour. We went well past that.
And I think you were driving your vehicle, your competition vehicle, right?
No,
right.
I made a pact to myself, if you want to call it that. I bought a Cardali in 19, and if it takes me longer to load and unload the car, then I'm driving the car. It's just easier to stage from. It's more comfortable to drive out of a bigger vehicle and just tow. So.
Oh yeah, so true.
Joel says we can tandem in long drives, Steve.
Okay.
Tiffany says hello out of Barbados.
Hey.
We missed Jeffrey last week, but it was real busy with his move and he had some stuff, so he was just like, it's gonna be tough for me to get in today. So yeah, we understand, right, Jeff?
Yeah. But you held it down though.
We did okay. What's his name came in? Ray Pimley.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, that's the whole reason we brought on Steve Team Mini today. So Canada is starting to add judges in Canada up there. And cool. Team Mini, Mr. Steve, is one of the new T.W.I.C. certified judges out that way. So why don't you tell us about your DB drag background and whatnot?
Always love car audio.
Yep.
Love sound quality. Last week's episode was perfect for that. Basically 2003, we trailered an original Mini, which is still in storage, to Memphis, Tennessee.
That doesn't sound cheap.
It was not cheap. And we ended up in sound quality for what it is in Iosca. We ended up 5th at finals. So that was kind of cool. And we took a bit of a hiatus on that. And over time, I actually competed against Ray and his Justy way back when. I don't know how much you guys remember that.
No.
And I got my butt handed to me big time. And one thing led to another, and I quite enjoyed working the crowd, and that's where we've ended up over the years. 2013 was my first finals for DB Drag, and I think I missed one of finals in there. Probably 21 was the 25th, the 22. And it's just what it is. But yeah, long distances and traveling. The car has re-educated me over time, and
re-educated you?
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to have a sound quality card that floats hair.
Okay.
And it was a big learning curve to do both of them at the same venue. Obviously you have to change seats and configurations and stuff like that.
Right.
But what led me into working with Ray over time was all the little mom and pop shows that were outside of DB Drag. And well, why did I pay $20 for today and I got one run, but last week I paid $30 and got 4 runs? And so the education process inside of that. And I mean, anybody could put a microphone in and lead cars in the lane, but why did that happen? And that's how we ended up working with Ray over the years. And apparently we impressed everybody enough that, well, there's 4 2X judges now inside of Canada. And, of course, Ray.
Right there, Justin says, Jeffrey, if you are bored, you can come help me build a wall. Steve Willis.
Sure.
What's up, peeps? Joel says he listened to Steve's sound quality setup when he was there in Alberta last year. It sounds amazing. Floats air or hair?
Hair. Well, I guess it's hair, but yeah.
So is that like frowned upon in the SQ community when your card does that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, the judges don't like anything past about 100, between 90 and 110.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's why the RTA landed up really well for me, because I was kind of used to that and worked with it. But yeah, could you imagine a judge in SQ, because you want to protect those computers?
That's true.
Imagine them watching a car float hair, do the cyclone that it does, and then go, I don't want to get in there, because we just saw whatever number, 50, 60 compares what we're doing inside of it. They just, no, that's going to hurt me. And it was kind of neat.
Wally Johnson says, what's up? Anyone heard anything on new rules being released soon or anything? Jeffrey, Steve, anybody want to answer that?
It's not March, April yet. What are you guys heard?
Wait, I thought it was October.
That's finals.
That's finals. Oh, so I think that there was. I know. I think Celise had put a post in a Facebook group. I think Wayne had made this video that he wanted to do, and once he got that out of the way, he was going to free up some time and get that knocked out, but it shouldn't be much longer.
Yeah, and there's no real rule changes that I heard of yet.
Right.
Maybe some minor clarifications at best, but I don't see anything that's gonna be anything much.
I think that's a good thing. If if we're not all called into like a big Zoom meeting, then it's probably not gonna affect things too much. So
no.
Well, we're just polishing the edges of the rules a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Tristan said Steve sends me some awesome work. You're talking pictures in Messenger or something? That's from Tristan. Steve Willis says, I don't trust the ear of any person. Mics only. I agree with you, Steve. That's why I did sound quality at one event, and I was like, I'm done. Ben Moore says, good evening, Team Mini. Wayne Harris twerking in a video.
What?
I don't think he watched the video.
No. Wrong Wayne is what he was watching. Wrong Wayne.
Wrong Wayne.
The wrong one.
Wally Johnson says, 10-4. What's up? Anyone heard anything of new rules being released soon or anything? Oh, wow. I guess that's just came back up again. Like I said, they stopped supporting the add-on for the that I use so I can see the chat. So hopefully it's not horrible. Anyway, no, that's cool. So is your intention...
Yes.
Well, first, how many judges got coronated, as they say, in Canada this year?
4 more.
4 more. So a total of 6. Ray, you, and 4 other ones, right?
No. Well, I'm one of the 4. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So you,
So
Ray, and
Ray,
3 others. So now there's 5 judges.
yes. Well, I mean, obviously anybody could do a 1X show with the right
Right.
gear and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of it's easier on Ray. You're running a business, and he can't just just pop out and I'm just going to take 3 days off and travel 15 hours, and so it's just easier to say, well, here's the gear, and off you guys go as a group.
Right.
Because it's not unheard of us to travel kind of like what Jeffrey just did, maybe not quite as extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Kelowna, I'm looking at here, was a 900 kilometers, so 9 hour just on a highway trip.
Yeah.
And you got to pull your gear, and
Yeah.
if the kid wants to play, little G wants to play, or Jimbo wants to play, you got to put it on the trailer too. I mean, you're going through the mountains, so you get the idea of it takes a lot of stress off of them by us doing the regular shows.
Woody McDonald says, hey, didn't Steve Team Mini come all the way to Sacramento a few years and beat us up with a blown head gasket?
Yeah, well, was a clutch. Ended up being a clutch. We smashed it so hard at the track before is I think it was five of the bolts holding the flywheel on. Well, let's put it this way, they weren't in torque anymore. It was
Yeah, and you drove it. You didn't trailer it.
No, that was trailered.
That one was trailered that year? Okay.
Yep. 19 on, we've been trailering it. It's anything I passed about a 3-hour drive from the city.
Okay. Speaking of which, do you guys have plans of coming down to Autorama maybe this year?
That's a Ray question.
Okay.
Well, it just
if Ray's going, you're going, right?
Well, essentially, I'm one of his spare drivers, and they listen to me snore, and they put up with me. But it just, for me to go down there on my own is, let's just put it this way: when I went to finals, I averaged $5,000 to $8,000 a trip.
Wow.
I mean, U.S. dollars, that's only what, $20.
I know.
But you get the idea. I mean, you got to eat. The vehicle's got to eat. You got to put tires underneath it. You got to have a hotel room. And
you mean SPL vehicles go through tires too?
The tow vehicle. Well, yeah, it does.
A tow vehicle too. I mean,
Yep.
shoot. I mean, when you're towing heavy, you just eat tires like nobody's business, right?
Yep.
So yeah, no, I understand that.
Are we interested? Yes. It's just a matter of, is it financially feasible?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's not. I'm just an old retired guy. So
Joel says he'll fly up there and let's drive down together, Steve.
Oh, there you go. You got your co-pilot.
Yeah. I don't think you can handle the power of the tow truck or the tow vehicle.
But what format you're doing Cyclone, right? Is that
a little of everything?
Okay.
I go into the Burp class or the SPL class, and because it's a trunk car, we play in trunk. It compares what mood I'm in. I don't like looking at clamp numbers, so if you go in freestyle, we throw it in the kick kind of thing. And I said, I just don't want the clamp. Just let it rip on unlimited. Yeah. I stayed away from base race and top dog. It's too hard on my nerves and my adrenaline. The car is a standard, and I literally have to grab both my hands to hold my foot on the clutch because it's shaking so hard. So I'm like, I don't want to. I just stay out of that and let the kids do that. And then of course, playing Cyclone, and Cyclone was just the door that opened up because it was the closest thing I could find inside a DB drag for sound quality. And I guess we did okay.
We did the RTA.
Mike Watson says he constantly whoops my ass. Ben Moore says I put 20,000 kilometers last year competing. So for people that don't understand Northern California, I put about 75,000 miles a year on my vehicle between doing shows and going to work. So I put in a lot of windshield time. So just saying, for people that don't understand. Woody McDonald says, "I hear Canada will be our 51st state. Welcome to America, buddy."
Oh,
I'm all good with that.
oh,
I'm all good with
he's
that.
all good at that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard.
Here's the catch. I
Uh-huh.
married a girl from California. She was born and raised in Burbank.
Did she take? Is she trying to California your Canada?
No.
Okay. That's a big thing in Texas. Don't try and California my Texas.
Yeah.
I heard Trudeau stepped down or something.
Yep. Well, he's trying to do blank promises that he's going to leave in 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Until they catch up. Blah blah blah.
I just caught something on the on whatever. It says Steve's a great guy, always fun to be around at shows. We see him on a regular basis. Ben Moore says, yes, please, 51st state.
Yep. Any day of the week.
As long as I can do PTO, I love to drive, is what Joel says.
Paid time off.
Yeah. Personal time off.
Ah, that's right. Personal time off.
Yeah. You don't always get paid for PTO.
Ah.
But no, Canada as the 51st state. Well, it wouldn't be the 51st state. I bet they would have to break up your provinces to make each province a state. Is probably what they would have to do.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But to put things in perspective, you don't necessarily quote me on it, but Sacramento probably has as many people as all of Canada.
So Sacramento, I believe, is around 2 million. And I don't know what Canada is currently.
But we're not, you know what I mean? The concept is just, don't look at lesser the landmass, just look at people. Like,
yeah,
we can drive for hours sometimes with not seeing anybody.
Okay, so right here it says, in the metro area, 2.24 million.
Yep.
And then let's see what it says for Canada.
And it might be, Canada might be, let's say, 10 million. I actually didn't look it up as of.
I'm looking up right now for you.
I see that.
Estimated to be 41 million.
Okay. So okay, I'm a little off, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I mean it's smaller than most states.
Yes.
As far as population goes, yeah.
Yep. So to call us one state, sure, whatever. it's just an imaginary line on a piece of paper. So
I know you aren't. You may not be totally familiar. Hold on, wait a second. Let me get down here. Mike Watson says, yeah, call us the 51st state so I can get my equipment cheaper. No more tariffs. If only the Darien Gap in Panama is drivable, I would drive down to Brazil from Joel.
I believe that.
Canada only has 34 million. It went up, is what Mike says, population. But the way the states work in the United States is regionally, you may not have the same set of morals and lifestyle so like for us, for instance, somebody that lives in California does not have the same lifestyle as somebody in Wyoming. And so that's why we're essentially set up as states, is allow people with different lifestyles and different sets of values to still live together and have equal representation within the country. And that's why I was saying, they would break you up. I don't know the dynamics of Canada, but I would guess it would be similar. Because, like, when you go, you go to your big cities, they're going to be more like New York or San Francisco. When you go to, like, Ottawa and stuff like that, they're going to be kind of that type of city. And then when you get outside, they're probably going to be like our farmers and, Midwest, in other parts, right?
Yeah, and you're right. You're right.
So Woody says, moose burgers and moose chili dogs. It'll be interesting, eh? Do you eat a lot of moose up there?
Nope.
No?
I don't think I've ever. I had some deer at some time. I'm a city boy.
All right.
Moose, nope. I've seen a moose.
Most dangerous animal out there.
They're big.
And they're mean.
Yep.
So, yep. They're more dangerous than bears. Because
they
don't. Oh yeah, because they don't care about people. They just
Damn.
don't. If they're doing something, they don't care about people. And bears would just rather not deal with people.
Sure.
So yeah.
And bears only got claws. Where you look at a moose, boy, there's some big racks in some of those.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, no. So you're judging. I got Jeffrey back in California now. We have in Northern California. We're gonna have Jose Ramos. He's been not feeling well. Otherwise, he'd have him on the show. Then I'll be moving back out towards Wichita, Kansas. So we're trying to grow out here. Obviously, you guys are trying to grow Canada. How many shows did you guys end up doing last year? I think you
20?
guys were around. Oh, you got 20 shows.
I'm just reaching out of numbers out of cyberspace.
Well, you got to figure you did those in what, 7 weeks?
Yeah, that was that Canadian. I don't know what you would call it, but it was like every weekend, and it was like 3 days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday shows.
Yeah, and that's normally what we do is we try to give the competitor as a customer, because that's what they are.
Yeah,
a value to come out. So if guys going to travel, where I wrote a whole bunch of distances here. Winnipeg is a 13-hour drive. So if somebody's going to drive 13 hours one way, well, you know what? How about you stay Friday, Saturday, Sunday? We might go to a different venue, so to speak, of
right,
the next city or town, but make it worthwhile for you to. But while you're out here, keep it done. So we used to try to do 3 venues a weekend, and just get it over and done with one weekend, and then stay away from long weekends if we could, because that's family time, birthdays, anniversaries, and stuff like that. So that's why finals is so important. It's because we could make it similar throughout the first weekend of the month or second weekend of the month, so it's ingrained in somebody's head to, oh well, this is competition weekend or whatever.
Right.
And as staff on our side, it also makes it easier, because it takes me, I tend to do all the loading of the trailer on my own, and it still takes me about an hour and a half to load the trailer. So you add that to driving and sleeping and the show, and it takes time. It takes time. So yeah, on the other side, that's why we do more than one show a weekend, is to give value to everybody, really.
Well, and then you got to also think, right? Because your competition season is such a narrow window, too.
Yep.
Due to the elements, right? Like weather and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's not like Jeffrey in LA, right? Oh wait, it's bad weather today. It's a little windy and slightly rainy.
We did one of the satellite finals a few years ago, and they were knocking ice off their windshields.
Yeah.
Burps.
Yeah.
And that's only October. Right. That's only October.
And I think some laptops froze over in Canada. Yeah.
So, speaking of judges, we got the New Zealand judge popping in here. Jody Green says, "Afternoon, all." And but for Jody, it's the middle of summer for him right now. He doesn't know anything about that ice and stuff. Steve Willis says, "Hockey time, eh?"
Yeah, I used to make some outdoor rinks way back when I was younger. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. So with all you judges and stuff now, do you think you'll have more shows, or is it just so that Ray can step back a little bit?
I don't know, because he kind of caught us offhand or by surprise. He just goes, "Oh, and by the way, don't listen to these guys if they try to downplay it." He trusts us. He says, "No, you don't have an option. You're a judge now." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So
there you go.
That was finals, and we haven't done anything since finals.
Okay.
And we normally have a Christmas get together, but this year just didn't work.
Yeah.
So I could see us doing technically more, but there's how much do you push your competitors, because they got to travel too. So I don't know. We kind of bantered back and forth, and we'll still probably sit with 1 or 2 weekends a month. We can't do every one.
Right.
you still need locations, and it's,
Yep.
Right.
it's
I mean, that's something that somebody that doesn't put on shows doesn't understand.
Yep.
Procuring a location is something difficult. You want to speak to that, Jeffrey, a little bit? Or, I mean, you just got dealt with that in Texas, right?
I think even more so is finding a location to be able to host the event.
That's what I meant by hosting events.
I think everybody is like, yeah, let's do a show at this shop, but then we got to think, okay, is there like, is it in residential areas or houses that might complain? You know, I know there's a shop that wants me to do an event here in SoCal already, and I looked it up on the map, and it was kind of near a hotel, and I'm like, I don't know, but he swears he's you know good with the owners and talk to the guys there. But I think the hard part is, you know, being able to maintain these locations and keeping, you know, being able to do an event there, event after event. And I guess all the stuff that comes into play, like, and I saw some people post about this, about like demos and stuff like that, or I should say outside influences shutting down shows and stuff like that. That's going to be another hard part, a big hurdle for finding locations. So, man, dude, if you find a location that's like that's kind of, I had luck with Crossfire in Grapevine, Texas, because you know, it was an industrial area. There was a freeway and an airport, you know, behind the building. So, you know, we couldn't piss anybody off, you know. So, dude, so we were doing shows like once a month there, just because we knew that you know, we were able to maintain something like that for all the competitors. So yeah, that's there's definitely a bunch of hurdles too. You know.
So where are you? Do you typically get your venues at up there in Canada?
We have to go chasing after venues, and the hard part is, you know, you travel 20 hours, let's say, and you get there, and then, like Jeffrey said, you get shut down. And once you get shut down, which is actually kind of cool when the cops show up, because, okay, we finally did it. But we've had noise complaints 10 miles away, and we're you know, the shop is in industrial. It just what it is. Like, once you scare a venue away, it's hard to get them back.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to, is like you're saying, well, now your competitors come in, they gotta sleep someplace, they gotta eat someplace, they gotta go pee. It just, life doesn't stop because we're playing like that. And it's a hard one. But we have a lot of traditional ones that are coming back. I mean, you know, we got some coming up in Kelowna, you know, they want to call us back twice. Medicine Hat, and each one of those are, you know, a dozen hours or more away, easy one way.
That for me is like going from here to Phoenix, right?
Yep.
That's not that I haven't done that. Not my favorite.
No, and I get that, but yeah, Jeffrey, and you guys are right. It's finding the tolerance of the neighborhood around it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're houses or, I mean, we were at DC a few years ago, and the guy came from 3 miles away and behind a big barrier, and he says, I heard you in the middle of a cul-de-sac, and I had to come here. And he came by sound. He didn't know DC was there. So yeah, he wasn't impressed. So but you get the idea, and a lot of these competitors don't understand that, like demos, and like, oh, we'll just we'll demo, which is great. But the more you demo, the more you get interest, which is cool. But then the interest can go. It's a double-edged sword.
For sure.
It's try not to burn our bridges, so to speak.
Yep. Susie says we've had cops show up, and then we have had them in vehicles getting demos, or Mike on the front of a cop car to see if it's DV levels.
That was Regina. Yep. Made 130, 132, I think it was.
Wait, is it the Mounties that pull up?
Well, this was a local guy in the middle of the city that showed up because, you know, it's his jurisdiction. He goes, well, I heard you guys had a permit and blah, blah, blah. And he came to visit, you know, full bulletproof vest, the whole 9 yards. Oh, wow. And he crawled into Jimbo for a demo.
That was different for him, I'm sure.
And he went, what? He gets out. I'm done with that. He was have fun. We don't want to touch that. But he kept coming back to visit. And
Uh,
it wasn't so much for noise complaints. He goes, I want to see this. I want to see this. But he's on the clock.
yeah.
Uh,
Susie
so
says
yeah.
she's got videos.
Well, there's many floating around.
So that's one of the great things about Autorama is there was a great video of Rusty giving a cop a demo at Autorama one year back when he was a competitor before he started DC Audio. So, yeah, that was, I mean, that's what Autorama's pretty cool about, right? We have an opportunity to demo and we don't have issues with people and stuff. So, you know. So are you familiar with James from CE Outlook magazine?
Doesn't ring a bell right now.
Okay. Anyway, so Ray connected me with him. He's got a 250 number, so I'm guessing that's somewhere in Canada.
I don't know. I guess I could look it up later.
Yeah. Anyway, he just texted me and says he was doing an article on judging and stuff, and he talked to Ray and talked to me about it, and he said the article is going to be posted this week. So. Cool. If you guys are looking at it, it's CE Outlook Magazine is what he said. So, but he's going to post an article kind of about judging and different regions and different equipment that people have in the different regions and what we see as judges. 250 is BC, according to Susie.
Yep.
So that's a Canadian place.
Yep.
Not very Canadian, though. It's just over the border. So.
Right? But there's a small mountain in between here and there for us.
Which one's that? Denali or something?
The Rocky Mountains in general. Like there's just some but it compares which way you travel. There's about 3 ways to cross.
Yeah.
Cross over.
Isn't BC like right over the water from Washington or something?
Yeah. Just north of it. So Surf City, if you're in Vancouver, which is in the far western side, it's more than a hop, skip, and a jump, but it's an easy afternoon to drive there. But from our location in middle Alberta, it's a 20-hour ride.
Okay. Matt R. says, tell Wayne to do more YouTube. You know, Wayne actually enjoys doing that YouTube stuff, though. He truly does. And you can tell when you watch his videos.
Yes.
Because when you see Wayne in person, he is not as outgoing as he is on his YouTube. If you know him, he's a very nice guy, and he is kind of outgoing. But in his YouTube videos, he is really outgoing. He's really trying to explain stuff. He wants to be he's pretty expressive on those. And which is like cool. When you meet Wayne outside of that, he is thinking about work or working. Yep. And by that, I mean DB drag and term lab. So
it is a job. It is a business.
It is a job and it is a business, but he is very driven and dedicated to that job. So, which is cool. I mean, without that, we wouldn't have what we have now. You know, the most sensitive and accurate mics to ever exist, right?
And that's what dragged me into DB drag was the consistency of the judging staff, the venues. Oh, no, think about it. Like
no, I'm just laughing because Steve Willis just hit you with "Go Avalanche, have a great night."
Right, but yeah, the few times I watched Wayne live or not. He is definitely in his lane when he's on his own doing videos, and that's where his heart is, and that's without that we wouldn't have a nice big sandbox to play in.
Exactly. I like listening to the historical tidbits that he throws into his videos, like, oh, I was working on this 30 years ago, and he was dropping names and stuff like that. So I like listening to those stories.
Yeah. And speaking of names and stories, next week, I've got confirmation. We are going to have Alan Dante.
Oh, Dante.
Alan Dante. Well, he'll be on next week. And then,
Nice.
yep, now he's working on his green card. So he can become an American citizen and hang out here. So,
How did he used to come over before when he
just
would
on
do
a visa.
finals? Oh, okay.
He would just come on a short-term visa. And
I gotcha.
but now he's trying to do it and be legal and be over here because so the way I don't know if you remember when we had him on before, he talked about how the availability of stuff here in the United States is just
that's true.
so much
It is
better.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a huge advantage. People don't understand that if they don't travel, worldwide or whatever. I mean, to get something to Canada is just, man, it's a pain in the butt.
And subwoofers are not light.
No.
Mm.
And they have a tariff when you go in, so
Yep. Yep.
the shipper pays a tax to get it into there, and then for the buyer to pick it up, they get hit with another tax.
Yep. Tax on tax on tax. Yep.
Yep. So it's huge.
It's even if we were sponsored and they send us gear.
Yep.
I still couldn't afford it some days. It's just what it is.
Yeah. Susie says, I met a guy that was installing alarm system stuff in my house that used to compete in DB Drag 16 years ago.
Oh.
Was cool to hear stories and to know people he used to compete with. Well, what's his name?
Yeah.
You can't just say, I mean, for all we know, it was one of the twins. It was Mike or Mark.
Alarm system.
Could have been.
Could have been.
I'm wondering if maybe it was Sam Horn because he likes it. He does traveling and installs and stuff, doesn't he? Or
He does.
yeah. So I wonder if it was Sam.
He's a traveling installer guy.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
no, that's like I said. But round 4. Anyway, yeah. So that's what we got going on. We got Canada going. 5 judges.
Cool.
Who's your East Coast judges? Can you name all your judges, or you can't?
I don't. I've never been to Ontario.
Okay.
Out east. They came out and it was overwhelming. They had I think 4 cars. Susie would probably know better because I was in a different format. Each one of them, brought 2 or 3 people, and it was easier for them to drive to the big show than it was to come to us, but they came to us because it was technically cheaper, I think.
Okay.
And they're working on their judgeship shoot too, but inside of Saskatchewan, let's say, we don't have a certified judges per se. We just have 1X judges. So
Okay.
I think until finals, Ray was the only certified judge inside of Canadian soil. I could be wrong on that. But I only go back, a dozen years.
Right. Susie says, give her a minute. She's going to grab his card.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's just it, right?
So we had a guest, Tyler Archer. Is he out of the east?
He's
out of the east,
a little
right?
more east from us. He's in the Saskatchewan territory. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know he had mentioned when we had him on the show, like a big event that there was a bunch of people that came and supported the show. So that's cool.
And they're the ones that do the 1X shows. They're
right.
Not that you and I are more important than we're not. We just have a higher responsibility inside of it.
Mhm.
And they've been gaining traction too. They've been, doing their own shows, but you still need a certified score to come to finals. So we make a great effort to go, Southern Alberta once or twice, going to BC, so out west, once or twice. Same thing out Saskatchewan. But each trip is a solid weekend, plus prep. It's to go to Ontario, you don't want the bill.
Wow.
Susie says his name's Randy St. Cyr. I don't recognize that name. Matt R says, is Murillo still involved in DB Drag or with Sound Digital? I remember the name Murillo from back in the day, but I don't remember what class he competed in. Did he compete against you, Jeffrey?
I believe he was one of the guys who worked. Was it for Sound Digital?
Okay.
I remember hearing that name associated with Sound Digital, but nothing recently.
Right, I haven't heard his name recently, so
Right.
yeah, no telling if that is, but yeah, that's another one. Yeah, so we got Dawn February 24th coming on here. So if you guys want to get your technical on, or you guys know anybody that has any technical questions, Don's
DB
gonna.
Don?
Yep, DB Don. He's gonna come on here and tell everybody how they're not building their boxes correctly.
No.
Been there,
Um,
done that. Have the T-shirt.
but yeah, he says, man, I gotta tell all these guys they're missing the mark, and this is why. So I've scheduled him. That's February 24th. We're trying to get all these people on here and show where it is, what we got going on coming up forward. Matt says he was the North American rep for Sound Digital, but lived in Canada.
Oh, okay.
So, no, that's cool. So for people that don't know, if you ever been to one of Ray's shows, Team Mini was the mic monkey at any of his shows. So if you look at pictures, videos, anything, you'll see him either standing at the passenger side of the car or with the microphone in his hand trying to get in the passenger side of a car.
And I think that's where I kind of formerly met him, was at a World Finals.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think I'd seen you prior to finals, and being like a judge, working, getting the mics in and stuff like that. I believe that's how I first met, and then I found out that you were competing and from Canada. So.
Doug didn't know that either until I showed up at the car in 13.
Ah, okay, yeah.
But it was all local, right? It was one of those weird mixes where, oh, we're not having finals here. Okay. So I get the question, are you going to finals in the States? Yes. And now I have to decide, am I driving or being passenger, right? And well, that's history, because I drove down with, the two vehicles at a time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something I fell in love with. It's mostly to inside of DB Drag, because I mean I did the SQ, and that's a completely different format. It's just you really got to get your head wrapped around that. But inside of DB Drag, it's a battle, and we all get mixed up. Oh, I thought I was burping. I thought I was base racing. I thought I was, So I took it upon myself to, as I'm, putting the sensor in and, getting everything lined up and doing a once over, you're burping right now. You're base racing. You got everything right. You got your frequencies. It just, anything it took to prepare that person for that, 30 minutes of battle. And I loved it. And I think, Jeffrey, you grabbed the championship that year and world record, if I'm not mistaken. So,
okay. That
if
was
I remember
that,
correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
So Susie says Randy had a yellow CRX.
Could be.
Because Matt Bransoy had the yellow CRX, remember? He was kind of like, he wasn't the first one with the CRX, but he was the one that really made the CRX known to be loud. And if you paint it yellow, you get extra dB. They called it the Bumblebee CRX. Interesting.
Could be.
Yeah. So when you competed in sound quality versus DB Drag or SPL, different friendship groups, or did you create friendships like you do in DB Drag, or how did that work out?
Well, that's where I started, so it was more of a learning curve on that side.
There's
always little cliques or little groups that you run around with, and you're SPL. I can't talk to you because I'm sound quality. Well, look at Autorama. They do it in a completely different day, and they do it around the corner. And you look at Surf City, the same thing. They do it in a different day, and I guess I could say this: the sound quality guys are very snobbish.
Are they really? Because I mean, that's how I've never really interacted with the SQ community, but that's how I kind of feel. But then again, I think that's how they feel about us. That we're the snotty ones.
I play both sides of the fence, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's just, and when we do our shows, we have a local group that started out as mecha judges, and I think they played in IASC at one time or something like that, and ICCE, and they tag along with us. And tag along is a really wrong word, but wherever we go locally, yeah, let's because we have the venue, and they're even playing a little bit on the DB drag side, and making loud vehicles. So it's not that the SQ guys knock you out, but it just secret, 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 right? Like it just
Uh-huh.
it is what it is, right? Like it just
Susie says she agrees with you, Steve.
well, she doesn't have a choice. She can't come over here and slap me like she normally does.
But I mean, like, since I only deal with the SPL side of
Yes.
things, the people are super welcoming. They want you to be part of the group. They want you to be part of the scene. Obviously, you've made lifelong friends from it, with
Absolutely.
Ray and G, So, I mean, that's more what I was curious about. Is there a difference in that kind of relationship you have with those people versus the SPL?
Yes. And let me sum it up in a slightly different way. When you do an SPL demo, you might be 15 seconds, 30 seconds long. The few runs that I've done showing the SQ side of the car is 30 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Well, because some people, all they hear is bass. So you have to retune their ears and going, well, this is, the finite of the high end, the mid end, where do you see the people singing on your SPL guys? They don't care. Let's break shit.
Yeah.
And that's real easy to do. I mean, I'm sure all of us has done it at least once or twice in time. Where the sound quality guys, it's levels of secrets. And I mean, I had the car wrapped in a cocoon, so you couldn't see in or out of the car in the SQ side. Well, that's not very inviting,
No.
to a walker by. What are they doing in that car, kind of thing. So yes, lifelong friendships on both sides. I couldn't choose between either of them. They're both equally important to me. But it's harder to do an SQ show. But you can get an easier venue because it's quiet.
Right.
It's just again, there's that double-edged sword. It just
But so for me, the cost to compete at the sound quality versus the SPL level is not even close. And the SQ people 100% spend just as much time, if not more time, tuning their vehicles as an SPL guy. But in SPL, you're buying amp subs done.
Yep.
You're going to blow subs. You need a replacement subs. You're going to blow amps. You need to fix your amps. You fix your subs. Fix your amps. Sound quality, you might have 16 tweeters on one side of your car. Right? Or
DSPs
DSPs and mids and 10-inch mid, 8-inch mid. Can you reproduce all the frequencies?
Yep.
And it's a different animal.
Yes, it is.
Not what I'm fond of, but different.
Well, to put that in relevance, for many years, because we did okay in RTA in the traditional Cyclone. Also, like people saw was, oh, well, you just whipped my butt with a pair of tens. What they didn't realize, I probably had more time tuning the RTA side and getting my head wrapped around it.
Yeah.
Running 2 to 3 laptops. I probably have more runs in RTA than most people have in SPL. and I cry when I did a 98 because every third run it would do 100. But it didn't come easy. So same thing in the SQ. It's like, oh, well, how do you move the imaging here, here, here? It's the easiest way to explain to some people is you put on your most comfortable headphones. You have a good glass of wine. You're not drunk or high. You're feeling really good. And you just sit back and get lost in the music, and you could reach out and you could touch all the artists in front of you, and you could pick them out of, cyberspace. We're in SPL. We don't care. Just, your eyeballs
beat your
move?
head.
Yeah, let's do this. It's kind of cool. I'm happy I played both sides. Technically, I'm a sound quality judge also.
Okay.
Under ICCE, but you don't want my ears listening to your car because I understand the principles of it. But I guess when you're sitting in a vehicle that's doing, we're only doing a mid 50. but we're doing sometimes at a mid 20 hertz. That is very damaging long term to my head. So for me to sit in and try to critique somebody for headphones or SQ, sorry, is I actually pulled back out of that one. But yeah, putting mics in and pulling cars in lanes, because somebody has to do it.
Yep.
Somebody has to run the show. So I quite love that, fell in love with it, and I get the opportunity to do it more. So yeah, thanks guys.
Okay. No, that's awesome. All right. Well, we are running up on the hour already.
Oh.
So it's nice.
Well, it's all Jeffrey's fault. He came in late.
Steve, how do people get a hold of you and whatnot if they want to talk to you, share pictures with you?
Oh, easiest way would be through Facebook.
Okay.
It's under Team Mini is the main page. You
Okay.
don't want my personal page. I get into all kinds of very political stuff and stuff. I mean, we all have our opinions, right? So
Yep.
But yeah, that'd be the easiest way, because I'm not giving out a phone number in this.
Facebook.
Yeah, Team Mini under Facebook, and you'll see my old man's face in there, and it's the easiest way.
Okay.
And yeah, as soon as we get what we're doing at finals, we'll have everything ready to go. It's just I mean, that's what this discussion's about, and everybody's lining up. So yeah, I'm not sure we're going to go across Canada this year, because it's the time. I don't want to spend 20, 30 plus hours one way. No, my body's not built for that anymore.
Susie says, "Don't worry about it, Steve. She'll give out your number in the chat."
Yeah, of course she will.
Uh-oh.
Actually, she could put. She knows that she could type easier, because I'm computer challenged sometimes. Yeah, put up the page, Susie.
Yeah, send the link.
Yeah, the Team Mini link, if you would, please.
Is that where, like, say a shop that wants to do an event, they would contact you at?
That'd be the easiest way. I mean, Ray is still the man.
The head cheese.
Well, it is, right? But
yeah.
So,
but if you do an event, it would be a standalone. I mean, not necessarily always with Ray, right? You were.
That is the plan, correct?
Okay,
so
right.
Before we could all do 1X shows, but it's all his gear. He's got all the equipment. He's got the trailer. He's got the truck. So why am I going to replicate it? So we haven't figured out the details on it. But some days he could go. Some days some others can't. I mean, not everybody has free time like myself.
He has 15 kids, so
he'd have less if he did more shows, right?
That's right. He's hanging out with his wife too much.
Right.
Keeps end up with another kid.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, it'll come, and we normally budget for about a dozen shows a year, give or take, or a dozen weekends a year. Mm-hmm. And the hardest part, like Jeffrey said, is finding a location that's tolerant of us. Mm. So lately we've been tagging with one of our other 2X judges, Stacy, for hair tricks. Well,
right.
We've been chasing the
Bass Girl.
Yes, Bass Girl, correct. So inside of it, she has her own set of rules, because it's not a certified. It's just
right.
I wouldn't say she makes it up as she goes. She's very, very strict on that.
Uh-huh.
I've tried bribing her a few times, and bribes are accepted, but they won't make any difference in the end goal. But inside of that, we always went, well, how do we raise awareness of charities? So we tagged on with the mental health people, and once we got one or two of them to sit into one of our rides, and we give them a short demo, they're hooked, and now they're inviting us out to their events. But I'm not sure they want 30 of us base heads showing up and just smashing on windows and stuff like that. So yeah, great shout out to her, but we're working on it. It's a work in progress, and I don't have any defined answers for you.
Okay. All right. Jeffrey, now that you're out here, are people still getting a hold of you on Facebook? It's for you to do shows. What are we doing?
Yeah. What was funny was, so when I left Texas, I posted a picture of the moving truck.
Okay.
And I did this song. I think it was Post Malone, and he was saying goodbye, goodbye. And then I did like a peace sign in the state of Texas, and it was like a lot of people were hitting me up on the DMs, and what was funny was I was driving.
Yep.
And it was like, I want to reply to all these people, but it's like I'm driving. Then I ended up doing this live video, Facebook Live, where I was kind of, let me explain. And so on the live, there was a lot of people saying, oh, so that means we're going to do more DB drags now in SoCal. And I'm like, yeah, hit me up, and that's the plan. We can work on it. And I was telling everyone too, like plans that I want to do. I kind of want to replicate what Chris Gregory had done with the Tennessee Base Racers. Mm-hmm. Do that with SoCal, more of a reintroduction to base race down in SoCal, because I know a lot of the guys are doing the other organizations, which is cool. But they're doing like SPL, and I know how intimidating that is. I mean, coming up from doing SPL myself. I think once they get this reintroduction into base race and Top Dog, then we'll get attendance up, doing that. So there's a lot of things I'd want to do. Just kind of, I just want to ease into it for now. Finish up this move, and I see it, being a lot more DB drag events in SoCal for sure.
Cool. Awesome. And for me, obviously, I'm going to help out where needed. But right now, I have Autorama planned. So if you guys want to be participate in that, please show up to Autorama. That's going to be whatever, like May 4th, 3rd and 4th or something like that. Mm-hmm. So we got that coming up. Anything else beyond that? Currently don't have anything scheduled. Like I said, I'm trying to let what's his name take care of everything. Jose Ramos. Yep. Jody says he has a comp this weekend also. So if you guys are listening down under,
send the link. Send the link.
Yeah, send the link. I don't know if he broadcast his shows or not, but yeah.
I do recall seeing, I think there was a live video he had done. At an event to his. So
there's someone we haven't seen on here in a while, Will Levers.
Yeah, he's
a fellow Cyclone competitor.
Yeah.
Did you guys go heads up?
No.
Okay, he was in a different class.
Yeah. Well, the reason I got into Cyclone was to put cars in the lane. When I was choosing which show to go to, pre all of this interesting story, I would look and go, oh, they only had 5 cars. I don't want to go there. That's going to be boring.
Right.
Oh, there's 5 in my class. Okay, now it's worth a,
Yep.
You don't go to lose, but you're not going to go to, just take it. So, I mean, Will's basically in Vancouver, which is 14-hour drive.
Oh, okay.
Through the mountains. If that's on a good day. But for him to pop across the border and stuff like that is easy. But inside of that, the Cyclone was just a natural progression from my SQ side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Will, if you want to come down for Autorama, it's only a couple hours for you.
Yeah.
per Steve.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking more of Lincoln City.
Yes, I know what you're saying. I know. Jody says he's going to go live this weekend then.
Oh,
yeah. So if you guys get a chance, check out Jody Green.
And did they post the Team Mini link?
She said it's real simple. Search Team Mini.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm saying that is because during the winter months, I always do little goofy projects, working on the scooter, the truck, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's mostly to go, hey guys, if the old guy could do this, why can't you? So this is the build time for us.
Right.
During the summertime, obviously I'm not building anymore. I'm doing more of the competitive or judging side. So I'll post every local show that I know about. So instead of trying to waft through all of DB drag, and there is drama in there. It is, let's not pretend. But that's a different game. It's easier to go through 1 or 2 posts. Oh, well, this is within 12 hours of me, kind of thing. So be it SQ, be it SPL, Mecca, ICE, whatever. If I know about it, I post it at least a week in advance. So that might be a shortcut for some of the locals that are coming in. I don't know the
Right.
audience. Just trying to make it easier for the new and up and comers and build.
That's what we all do. We all try to make it easy for the incomer.
Yep.
All right, guys. Once again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to E-Box Design and Install, bass, badass sounds by Steve, doing their thing down in Texas. There, want to thank the sponsors who sponsor us. Joey says, "Low and Slow is the show we are running."
Okay.
And
We'll
Will
check
says
that
it's
out.
12 hours for him to go to Sack of Tomatoes. Hey, 5X weekend.
425. Yep.
Yep,
For him.
5X weekend in Sacramento.
5X. Wow.
Yeah,
I think you could practically get your invite. in just that
almost
one
get your
weekend, right?
invite. Yeah.
Yes, you can.
But anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to everybody. Thanks to Steve. Thanks, Jeffrey, for being back. Appreciate you being back, Jeffrey. And we will see you guys again next week at 5:30 California time, the only time that does matter. Peace. We out.
Later.